Hello. Hola, yes. Hello, hello. Welcome. Uh, are we going to model this gun? Yes, we are going to model guns. But first of all, I need to actually design said gun. And that's what we're going to do first. Here's the thing. Um, I really want to do more research as uh, the Mercon, thank you for the $2. Appreciate it. See if you can sense my dreams and then draw them. um conking out right now. Okay. I mean, I hope you dream about guns because that's what I'm gonna be drawing. So maybe try dreaming about that, and we'll through super chat. Oh, you did it through super chat. We are one step closer to getting my $100 out of fucking Twitch. Thank you very much. But yeah, what was I gonna say? I've been obsessing about guns. I'm not very educated with guns. I'm not educated at all with guns. My only experience of knowing about them is just looking up videos of them. I would love to learn more about them. But since I've started this project, the amount of new guns that I've learned about is crazy. You know, like specifically flintlock guns. Flintlock guns go so much further than what I ever thought was possible. The amount of tech we figured out for flintlocks was crazy. Absolutely crazy, and I want to use all of it. Before now, I was talking about like, oh, revolving flintlocks. That's like the gun of the in my setting. But the thing is, there's more than revolving flintlocks. Revolving flintlocks is like the tip of the iceberg. Flintlocks and then revolving flintlocks is like, oh yeah, cool, multiple barrels with multiple flash pans so you can like turn it and shoot it multiple times. There's these. Look at this fucking beauty. This thing is nuts. And any gun that's similar to it in idea is nuts. I can't believe that these exist. This as well. And there's also another one that I didn't pull up because I plan to do one like this for this first gun I'm modeling and not this. I just wanted to show it off. Look at how beautiful that fucking thing is. So these fall under sort of the same category, which is there are types of flintlocks that have probably not the right terminology to use, but I will use it for sake of simplicity. They have magazines. How? How the fuck do they have magazines? Well, they have separate chambers in the gun that hold both the black powder and the pellets or the bullets. So there's these pipes here that you can see running along the gun. One of these has gunpowder or black powder in it, and the other one has the bullets in it. And you turn the whole fucking barrel mechanism here along this axis. You hold the gun up and turn it like a fucking pepper grinder, and it makes it so the gunpowder falls into the combustion chamber, like the barrel chamber, and then the bullet falls into it as well and gets pushed into place, or the bullet first and then the powder. And then also that turning motion cocks the hammer back, and a bit of that powder, or it also reloads the flash pan. That's the crazy part. It reloads the flash pan as well. What the fuck are you like? How? I mean, I know how. I watched the video. So there's another separate magazine for the flash pan independently from the barrel. So the flash pan has like a small magazine as well that gets actuated with the turning motion. So it's literally do you call that a repeating a repeater a repeating flintlock? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So you fill it up with bullets and you fill it up with powder and you just twist the barrel and it cocks the hammer for you. It loads the flash pan. It tamps the bullet into the barrel and fills it with black powder. So you can just crank it and then fire. Crank it. I should not use the word crank it. It's too late now. You crank it and then you fire and then you just crank it again. It's what? How the fuck did you come up with this shit? And this is basically the same gist. Instead of the powder and the bullet reserve being under or next to the barrel, with this version instead, it is in the stock. So you can see here, this is the lid that closes those compartments. So you put bullets in here, and they run along the inside of the handle, and then you put powder in here, and then this like turning chamber here, the circle here, takes one bullet and an amount of gunpowder, and then you just spin the handle all the way around, which again cocks the hammer, fills the flash pan with a separate compartment of gunpowder, and then puts those and has them fall into the front of the barrel. It's nuts. It's nuts. Seems pretty complicated, yes, but it's beautiful. And then there's other versions which I just pulled up for reference sake. I'm not gonna make one of these. There's like this one is a cartridge breech loaded wheel lock gun. So you can have like fully loaded cartridges ready prepared, and then the only thing you need to do is turn the wheel lock and then fill the flash pan, and then you're good. And then you just open the breech, pull out the empty cartridge, put another one in, turn the wheel again, fill the breech, fill the flash pan, and then fire again. That's also crazy. The reason I pulled this up is because I just like the hammer. The hammer is really over the top, and I like the look of that, so we might use that as inspiration. Nerding out about guns like this for a while now. I'm so joyed to see someone with the same fixation on silly black powder firearms. They're so wicked cool. Yes, they are disgustingly cool. And the thing is, they're not good. Or, okay, I need to rephrase that. It's not that they're not good. They're absolutely incredible. It's just that there's a reason why they weren't used, right? The beauty of fantasy is that we can make up an excuse and just say, well, in this setting, they're used. In real life, it makes sense that they weren't used. They're disgustingly complex for the time. They're also incredibly, not incredibly, but they are fragile. There's a lot of moving parts, which means they can break, they can jam. Stuff can go wrong, especially with this one. Because the thing is, it basically takes powder and the bullet, and then you turn it all the way around and drops it into the barrel, right? But that means there's a chance that when this like revolving part wears down, in the video, he said that it can be that there's like gunpowder or black powder residue that gets trapped in between this chamber and the wall, and that can lead so, or that can make it so a spark can lead back to the powder reserve and just blow up the whole fucking thing. So it makes sense that like these have flaws, but that's a part of why they're so beautiful to me, is that they are not perfect. There's such a weird way of trying to figure out this complex solution in their own wacky ways. And they all come up with different solutions. The most beautiful rendition of this idea is probably this one, which is probably I'm gonna use this as like the epitome of the technology that I'm using in my setting. Hold on, I gotta pull it up. I forgot to save this video. This one. Oh my god. This beauty. This is like this is like the epitome of this idea. And this was like, from what I know, this was the most viable version of this idea, and the most disgustingly complexly executed version of the idea as well. My god. So It's sort of the same idea. There's a powder magazine in the stock, and there's a bullet magazine next to the barrel. How the fuck do you get the powder to the front? You see what he's pushing here? That whole lever swivels around the gun to the back. So it swivels around and it has its own compartment. The lever has a compartment for black powder. So you swivel it around, it opens the compartment in the back, dropping black powder into this compartment that's under the lever, and then you swing that gun, that black powder that you just put into that compartment all the way around to the front, which has this little latch that opens the compartment, and it pours the powder into the barrel that fucking moves outwards. There's a pinion inside that moves ratchets or moves this the chamber to the side of the barrel, allowing the powder to be put in. And then the barrel, the bullet also in some fucking step of the process rolls into the barrel, and there's a piston inside that pushes it into the barrel as well. So it's not just like rolling into the barrel and just the issue with a lot of these is because the bullet basically just rolls into the barrel. The seal isn't that good because it's just, there's air gaps and stuff because it's not getting pushed into the barrel forcefully. But this resolves that by having an actual piston inside that also gets moved by this like turning action that pushes the bullet and forces it to have a tighter seal. And then as you pull this back, it pushes this chamber back into position, and the gunpowder, behind the I it's I okay, my brain's short circuiting. I'm sorry, but yeah, it is horrendously complicated what the hell they did, but it also it fixes a bunch of the problems that this version has. Like what I said with it being able to, like, it can blow up because the gunpowder connects with the chamber in the back. That's impossible with this version because, well, the gunpowder's back here and it gets moved to the front by this little chamber, and when you fire it, this thing gets moved back first, and there's a fucking air hole here, or there's a hole here that lets pressure out. So even if there's like residual gunpowder in this chamber, it just vents. There's nothing to blow up because it's separate, which is how do you think of that, man? What is this called? Oh, I'll just send you the video. The video perfectly explains it, and it's, oh my god. Hold on. Here, let me send you this video. This channel has, I mean, obviously, this is like where I get my main source of ideas is from this channel. They cover so many good guns, but this was one of the, like, really crazy ones. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so this is, I'm so excited to explore this more and like add it into the setting, because that means we have such a wide variety of weapons that we can work with. Because we'll have obviously just very rudimentary single shot flintlocks. Then we have the revolving flintlocks, which have multiple barrels or multiple chambers, like a revolver, that need to be loaded individually. Then we can have versions of that where the chamber can be removed, so you can have multiple chambers on you, which allow for like rapid fire. And then we have like the epitome of it, which is this, which is a fucking magazine loaded flintlock. And I guess there's perks to either one of them, because with this, I think, well, no, the firing would be as fast as the revolving flintlock ones, wouldn't it? Or I don't know, but yeah, it's there's so much. There's so much. But yeah, for the design that I want for the Hatchfolk, like, so the Hatchfolk we're making is holding a gun, right? He's propping himself up on the gun. I think I want to use this gun because I feel like the mechanism is approachable enough for me at this moment, like at the skill level that I can model at. I think I can probably model something like this, and it's more simple and sort of rustic looking. Like, I think Hatchfolk would probably gravitate to something like this more because of how sturdy it looks. Like I can't see a Hatchfolk holding this thing. Right? This is too delicate, too beautiful a thing. But this is like a they could turn this around and beat you over the head with it. It looks like a walking stick already. A beautiful walking stick, but a walking stick. And this is like I want to keep this for a special occasion. So I think I want to tackle this. But yeah. Um and also uh uh I like the modularity of it as well. I think it's going to be really fun to have guns in the setting that are built out of like because the hatchfolk are scavengers anyway. It makes sense that they would repair their weapons and maintain them themselves. So it makes a lot of sense that a lot of their guns would be sort of cobbled together from multiple manufacturers and multiple pieces where they tune them themselves to their preferred use, right? So you can see like a rom barrel threaded onto a Verusian like firing mechanism with the like this turn thing, and then they just filed down the stock and then just put their own stock onto it or something. Just beautiful, like mishmash, Frankenstein weapons that they make. And I think it would make a lot of sense that the Hatchfolk are also surprisingly good at gun maintenance and gun like tinkering, because if you think about it, like Ram and Varus, they're gunsmiths. They would be working on singular, like specific types of weapons. But for the Hatchfolk, because they're scavengers, they would get exposed to all of the guns. They're scavenging all types of guns. They're taking them apart, they're cleaning them, they're fixing them, they're trying to figure them out. So they have an incredibly vast pool of knowledge they can take. They have access to learn how firearms function. So I think um, they would be very skilled at like fixing guns and putting them together and pulling them apart. But I don't think they'd be good at making them because they don't have the tools. They wouldn't be able to like make these gun parts themselves. So that's like relegated to the factories and stuff like that. But they can definitely like pull them apart and know how they work and function and stuff. So they can definitely be like employed in that sense, where they can be employed as like gunsmiths and stuff like that, fixing up broken weapons on the field. That'd be really fun. But yeah, this gun. We're gonna do this gun. So let's start, I guess. So harmonica guns, harmonica. Yeah, I love harmonica guns as well. I think I'm definitely gonna use harmonica guns as well. I think, um, my opinion, harmonica guns and like that gun that has this going on. Like there's one that was like this too. Uh, that has multiple barrels like pointing out like this, like a disc basically, and then just the barrel sticking out on this end, and you turn this around to face each barrel or each chamber to the barrel. Those two are. ah, I like them, but this is art. This is like that was those are like the wacky ones where it's like, haha, more barrels. But this is just like mechanical beauty incarnate, right? Those are like the like if you asked me how to make a flintlock that can shoot multiple times, and you gave me like 1,000 years, that's what I would come up with. That's like the first thing. I was like, I guess just make more barrels and just put them next to the fucking main barrel, you know. But like I wouldn't even be able to like begin fathoming how this thing was thought up. You know. But yeah, and also I think a lot of the games, well, there's not many games, you know, like the two games that I can think of that do it is Hunt Showdown and the other game. There's another like extraction shooter that's coming out as well, which is like in the Napoleon War era, happening in that sort of time period. Those two use those kinds of guns. They use this same idea of like wacky flintlock guns, but they always like default to, oh, the wacky flintlock gun, yeah, the one with the multiple barrels, or the one with the circular um like multiple chambers and shit. Like that's as far as they go. I've not seen a game or world like a fantasy world that has explored these. Or maybe I just don't know of one, but this is not what I've seen. You know, they go as far as like the fan gun, haha goofy, and then that's it. I want to explore like this deeper level of crazy. Hunger. Yes, I think it's called Hunger. That one's really interesting. I like it. I like the idea of that game. I don't think I'm gonna play it. I definitely watch people that are good at it play it, but I'm not gonna play it myself. Volley gun? No, not multiple. Um, they got they have the same. So Hunt Showdown and Hunt Showdown has like the revolver with like the chain of cylinders hanging off of it. Um, Hunger also has that gun. Then they have uh this gun with multiple chambers fanning out like this. Um, so you basically run the chambers along the barrel like that. They have that. Then they have one where instead of this, it's like a larger rifle, and it has like a circle of these barrels pointing out. And then they have the ones where it's multiple full barrels next to each other. And then they have the one where it's one barrel and then a shorter revolving cylinders of barrels here in the back with multiple flash pans like this. They have those, but that's it. I think that's it. That's to the point that they took it. They didn't take it to the extent of like this thing with the internal powder and bullet magazine. Um, I think you take it with a giant heaping spoonful of salt. A gun that shows AI brain rot to the enemy. Ooh, yeah. A chain gun. Yeah, the floppy chain gun is I don't know. The floppy chain gun I find very unappealing. I just don't like that there's something flopping. I don't like when things flop, you know. There's too much movement. What's all that movement? What's all that movement down there? But yeah, so let's do this gun. So the idea is the gun is supposed to look crude, sort of. Crude but sturdy. They definitely want it to be made out of like sturdy parts. They'd find like thicker barrels and stuff. Then also like cobbled together. Worn would definitely be a good descriptor. Yeah, so let's do the gun first and then see where we can go from there. So I think I want the gun to, like, instead of having a stock, I think I'm gonna have him file it down into a stick. Because he's gonna use it as a walking stick. And I feel like for their hands, it's gonna be a lot more convenient if it's just like a flat stick. Because their hands are really like knuckly. So they'd be better at just like holding things like that. And also, he'd have to modify the trigger. I feel like the trigger, instead of being like this, he would want like one of those like older triggers that you see on like really early guns, where it like runs along the handle like that. I feel like they'd like that a lot more. Yeah, so let's do that. So we have the this. and it sort of tapers down both at the top and bottom. Like that. I love the flash pan and the... Yeah, and then we can have this head be more like this one, where it's just like big and bulky. Definitely like that more, and it has like teeth as well. I like that. It's cool. Does it have a visible spring? It doesn't. I like that too, actually. I like that the spring is not external. I think it's internal, right? Or maybe it's like I can't see it. Where would the... Yeah, I think it's probably like an internal spring at that point then. I definitely want to keep this. You see this like outer edge of that goes around the cylinder. That's really satisfying to look at. So we're definitely keeping that. There you go. And then I guess we're just gonna remove... Yeah, let's just remove the trigger guard. I don't think they need trigger guards. Trigger guards are for pussies, and the Hatchfolk are certainly not pussies. So he just does that. And then he probably... oh, you know what would be fun? If they sort of tacked on a grip that looks like something you'd see from like a war hammer. Or like a war maul. So you can have the metal plate like run along the side of it like this, and then like bolt it like that. I haven't warmed up yet, so my lines are completely ass. But yeah, something like that. And you could... Oh, you know what would be fun? Have it be... So there's like actually like like this. You can see that there was a hammerhead on it, but now there isn't. I think that'd be fun. So they might have actually pulled it off of like a war maul, and then just stuck it onto the back. So it's like a very worn, like stumpy end on this side. Mace guns were a thing. Oh, I know, I know. GW's gonna sue the channel. Ah, damn. Yeah. What's GW up to at the moment? I feel like every time I hear about them, it's not because of something good. It's always like some random fucking controversy they've gotten themselves into where they just fuck over their actual audience every time. It's like, oh, nice, a video about Warhammer. What's the news? Oh, they just fucking banned like people for making fan content. Awesome. Ah, that sounds like a loving community. Sounds like they love their people. That's every time I hear about them, is like they fucked over some random fucking thing. It's like, oh, they intentionally made those old units obsolete in the newer version to force people to buy new ones. Nice. Love that for them. Jesus. They need, you know what they need? They need like a big competitor to pop up the same way as happened with like Overwatch and Marvel Rivals. Like that kicked them into gear. After you get a rival in the same field, that sort of wakes you up. Because I don't feel like there definitely are, obviously. There are other miniature manufacturers, other board like war games and stuff like that, but that one's just the biggest one that I know of, you know? So they're just, I feel like there just has to be one that gets as big as them, which sounds impossible, and just does it better. Like when somebody does it better, that's when they realize it and they're like, oh shit, we actually gotta be good. They're going after 3D modelers again. They took down the guys who were making Space Marine helmets because they were selling their own. Oh, fuck off, man. That's... Yeah, like beautiful. Isn't that great? That's wonderful news. Jesus. That just sucks. What the Yeah, I don't get that at all. Because I will never understand corporations. Like, I'm dumb. But it just doesn't make sense to me that that's the shit they do. Yep, because if you look at it, right, you're like, okay, they like our stuff, and they make there's 3D modelers making separate heads for our miniatures, which means like the takeaway from that could either be like, oh, we could make our own heads because there's clearly a demand for that, or oh, we could get these guys to make the heads and hire them or something like that. But no, the response is fucking stop them from doing that. What? It doesn't make sense. I feel like the obvious course of action in that case would have been to just be like, well, clearly people want more heads. Let's make more heads. Like, get the guys who made the heads to make heads for us. Isn't that a good idea, or am I dumb? Is that not good? Oh yeah, Trench Crusade. Yeah, Trench Crusade is definitely like getting up there. I wonder how the thing is though, with Trench Crusade, I absolutely love the setting. I love the aesthetic. I mean, I obviously like I took inspiration from it as well for my setting. For a long time, it was like very similar. Or I was worried that my setting was too similar to Trench Crusade for a long time. Um, I've heard people like talking about the setting so much and saying like, oh, it looks awesome and stuff like that, and I completely agree. Thing is though, I haven't heard of anybody talk about the game. What's the game like? I hear videos of lore and shit like that. How's the actual game? Has anybody in chat like played Trench Crusade and like the rule set that they have for it? Because I haven't heard much of that, which is weird. I feel like I would have heard more about what the actual game is like. Probably, well, I'm guessing it have to be similar to Warhammer in some sense. I've only heard one thing about it, like very early on, which was that it was a lot more luck based than uh than Warhammer or something. I don't know if that's true or not, but I did hear that where it's like, oh, like there's a lot more RNG in that game where like it can be the case that you get somebody down on the ground and because of rolls they just live in a case where they should probably all be already dead, but the rolls are just not favorable. So it's just this weird, like tango where you're stuck with a dude rolling on the floor and not dying. Uh, Hatchfolk win the day with the power of friendship, and this gun they cobble together. Headed in the wrong direction, one could say. Yes, headed in the wrong direction. But yeah, has anybody played Trench Crusade? Yeah, I'd love to play. Thing is, I haven't played either. Sadly, like I'd love to nerd out more than I'm able to. But the sad truth is, I'm just in a part of the world where that stuff is just not that popular. You know, it's just not that big here. So like the only place where it's available is like Bangkok. You know, in Bangkok there are like Warhammer stores and stuff, but even there I feel like it's quite niche still, even in like the capital, you know? Which means like over here there's no chance at all. Like in a more rural area, fuck no, I'm never gonna see one of those. Not heard a peep about the gameplay. I've looked at the art though. Yeah, exactly. That's the weird part. Is like I've heard so much about the art, but I've heard nothing about the gameplay except for like a little quip that I heard from a video that like brushed over it and then went like, anyway, the art. Like at the highest level of decision making, reality is almost entirely non-existent. I see. I have money for neither, so sadly no. Yeah, I guess that's also an issue is no money. The barrel sort of tapers, doesn't it? I definitely want to. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like that's just the. I feel like because of their bigger hands, you definitely want like a wooden grip under this though. This is just a bare barrel. I feel like they'd want to add like a wooden grip, so I'd totally like incorporate that as well. So we can just give them one of these. And also to make it look sturdier, we'll definitely have it be the barrel here is octagonal for like half of the length or like up to here, and then it becomes cylindrical. I definitely want to have just an octagonal barrel running all the way down. I like those like barrels with edges. Yeah. Uh, Trying to hire them means they could refuse and continue doing it. It probably seems better to just abuse their power and get rid of any potential threat. I guess. Yeah, I guess they could refuse, but like still, even like even if they I feel like the best thing they could have done was just do nothing then at that point. Like yeah, there's that risk, but then like what's the harm of having them do that? Like those few guys who are making some fucking heads for your figures are a threat to your fucking business model. They need the bodies anyway. Like they'll still buy your fucking figures and they'll just have more heads to put on them. You're not selling heads. Are they selling heads? Maybe I'm mistaken. Like maybe they sell heads and like their head sales dropped and they panicked or something. I didn't know that they. I don't think they sold heads like just separately, right? Oh, and you know the crazy part about this? Because these guns are auto loaded, they don't have a ramrod. That's the part that I was like, oh, right. These guys don't have a ramrod because you're not ramming the bullet down the barrel. So that's why it like looks so weird with this gun. And with this gun, it doesn't look weird because it has like multiple lines going down. But this gun looks so empty because there's no ramrod. There's not something you need to push down the barrel, so it doesn't have one. This one doesn't have one either. And you know the fun part? I think with this one, or maybe it was this one, I don't remember. They have a fake ramrod in the front where you put the bullets down. So it looks like it has a ramrod, but it just pulls out and it's just this tiny stick that's not used. It's just used as a cork to close the hole that you drop bullets down, which is really cool. Yeah, that's another cool thing. Oh no, not this again. There you go. Would it make sense for hatch folks to use those stands they use for medieval guns, like the sticks with forks at the end of them? I think it would make sense to have those in the setting. I definitely want those in the setting. I don't think it would make sense for hatch folk. Hatchfolk in particular are like you can see how like they're crouched down and very low to the ground. They're not standing up straight a lot of the time, and they don't want to be in that position. That makes them vulnerable. So they are very low to the ground, which doesn't make sense that they would have those like long stands. For them, the guns that they would use would preferably be very short and very nimble. So sturdy, but also like short and stubby. So because they're in tunnels a lot of the time, so the shorter the gun, the better. They're in close quarters. They're very small, so it's just better for them to have a shorter, more easy to handle gun. And those stands were normally used with like very long guns. That's why it's heavy. You can't hold it still a lot, so you use the stand. So I doubt for the Hatchfolk they would have those. Yeah, they definitely exist in the setting, like especially for like the like giant acceleration rifles that like the acceleration mages have. Those definitely have stands. Yeah, you can just make pipe guns as well if you want. Like those are like the simplest version of gun. But the thing is, I for this one in particular, I just want to explore like their scavenged, cobbled together guns. Those would definitely be a thing. Uh, like the just stuff some black powder and a bullet down a pipe and then hit it with a rock type thing, or just put like a yeah, you could just make the shittiest version of like a rust gun, and use that as well. But that's like I feel like the Hatchfolk would use that if that's like the only thing they have available. But when they're like scavenging constantly, they'll definitely come across a gun that they can piece together and stuff like that. So eventually they'll have a gun. Yeah, we definitely want the hook at the end of it as well, because they're use those to like hook bodies and stuff like that. So we want some sort of like crude hook attachment, which I'm guessing you could probably fasten out of like, so there's like the bayonet attachments, right? And just punch one down into a hook like this. So they just knocked one into the shape of a hook. Uh, like that's pretty much what they'd have, right? So they'd probably like wrap this with some cloth. Nah, they wouldn't. Uh, the handle would be square for sure. And then we sort of need to show where the stock ends and then their like replacement begins. Uh, how about using bones in solil form? What? Like a horse femur replacing a stock or something like that? Well, yeah, you can carve like bones into it as well. I don't like we're like using bones, yes, but I'm definitely not gonna go down like the caveman route. You know the shit you see in like 100% of caveman or tribal like concept designs where they just put the full fucking bone onto shit. Like they're just taping bones to themselves and that shit. Or it's like, oh, a bone hatchet, and it's just the whole fucking leg. Just the whole ass leg. Like this. And then a stone sticking out of it. I hate that shit. Cause it's so like you could just they would whittle it down for surely they would like actually make it a nice shape. Why the fuck did they just take, like when you said like, oh, horse femur as a stock. What I just pictured in my head was literally just the whole ass femur just stuck to the back of the gun, untouched, no modifications, just taped to the front. And like, oh, the classic, just like bind it with some rope. There you go. That'll hold. Then the Unga Bunga gun. Yeah. So yeah, bone is definitely a material they'd use, but just the way they'd use it is a lot more elegant. I want to have them use it a lot more elegant. Can we make it so this gun is a walking stick he had in the 3D mod? That's the whole fucking point. That's what I'm doing. I'm sorry if you came in late or something, but yeah, the whole point is the walking stick he's using is a gun, and this is the gun that I'm designing. This is the stick. You're correct. A passionate Varusian craftsman watching a Hatchfolk bash a rock against the priceless bayonet. They spend hundreds of hours carving by hand. Yeah. Uh, it'd be painful for gunsmiths to see what the hatch folk do to their arms, to their firearms. Wouldn't it make sense for the hook to be pointed outwards, where the gun is pointing? So, in the worst case scenario, they can hook somebody and have a guaranteed close up shot. No, it's not used for combat. It's used for dragging things. So I wouldn't expect them to use the hook. Like the hook is utility. It's not used for combat. Like they're not like using it like a fucking scythe weapon. It's literally for dragging things in. Like the whole idea is that they can drag something along with them, or drag a body closer to them, or down their hatches without needing to go out that far. It just increases their reach. So it's purely utility. They like the last thing they'd want is to get into melee combat with somebody like that's, and they'd probably like have a separate knife for that in that scenario. I don't think they'd bash them with the big gun they're holding. That'd be too clunky. I've just been scolded by my teacher for not paying attention. Yes, you have. You have been scolded. Yeah, that's pretty much. I have a problem. I keep saying that's pretty much it. I've realized or I've noticed recently that that's a thing I say way too often. I don't know what's happening. I can't stop saying that's pretty much it. Yeah, I don't think it'd have to be more rudimentary than this. I don't think it'd be cruder than this either. They could put like a metal cap here at the end. Nah, they just tore it out of a fucking Warhammer. It'd be fun to have like misaligned holes as well, so you can sort of see that they might have like ripped them off and then had to like hit them back in again or something like that. Like there used to be a rivet here, but they removed it and put two in instead. Oh, I can add a rope. Yeah. I stole that comment right away. Somebody said rope, and I was like, ah, yes, rope. That's my idea now. But no. Hold on. Not rope like a rope so they can throw their gun and like pull it back in. I mean, hold on. What's the word? Harness. Harness. I can add a harness. Your comment about a rope helped me figure out that I wanted a harness. So we can do that too. Uh, so just something like this. So he can like hold on to it. And I feel like they wouldn't like add a. You just carve the handle down into some notches and then just tie this onto the rope, or tie a rope around it. There you go. And then would he do the same here? I feel like that'd be butchery. Oh, I'm sorry. Just carve the fucking handle down. There you go. Tie it around the barrel. Obscure the sights. Just everything you shouldn't be doing. Yeah, something like that. So you can have it like slung over his back. Maybe some embossing on the metal bits. Maybe a small mark for Hatchfolk property. It'd be fun if, yeah, some sort of embossing would be good. I don't think they'd be. I don't think they would have used like a really fancy gun, so it wouldn't have like all those patterns and stuff. But I want the hammer to be fancy. Actually, I think I'm sort of picturing if it's like a scenario where the Hatchfolk found a really nice hammer, um, and just stuck it onto their shitty gun. So it's not from the original gun. They just found this like really nice ornate hammer and were like, well, I mean, don't mind if I do. So this can be really fancy, to like contrast the rest of the gun. Do we think I think it'd also be good if the barrel was separate from the rest of it. So this mechanism is from a different gun. The barrel is from a different gun. The stock is from a Warmall. Uh, so if the front was from like a Rom gun, the middle is from Varus, the front is from a Rom gun, what would be the difference? How would Rom make their weapons? I think what would make sense is that the front is very square. Rom is very square, so they would have like a square handle. And they would definitely have patterns on the gun, but they would do it in the easiest way possible, which would be if they just mass produced like decorative panels and then bolted it to the gun. So you can probably add like decorative patterns like this, but those are just like embossed panels bolted to the side of the weapon, and then the second one's missing, just like that. Oh, you know what would be extra painful? The barrel's a little larger than the gun. I'm sorry, but this might be a detail that has to happen. If it's just like a little offset because it's not from the same gun, so the body and the weapon doesn't perfectly line up. They could have carved it down. I guess they could have carved it down to make it look nice. Why wouldn't they? Yeah, because that might be too painful for me to have it like not be flush. Bandage or tape to hold it. Hold like this section here. Maybe that is it. Maybe it's that the barrel has been like worn down here, so there's like gas leakage that happens from firing. So he literally just bandaged it up to prevent the gas from coming out. That's horrible. That's absolutely horrible. I love it. All that beautiful Varusian craftsmanship down the down the toilet. This seems uncomfortable to hold. I mean, for us, yes, but for them, it would make sense. They have like really big hands compared to their bodies, and they're also like really thick, like knuckles and stuff. So their fingers wouldn't be nice to have in like a uh in a in a trigger guard. And also think about this: they wouldn't be holding it up to their shoulder, because to hold it up to their shoulder, they'd have to stand up, which preferably they wouldn't. Uh, the way I'm sort of thinking that he would shoot this would he'd stand like this. So his head would be here. His head would be here, and he'd be just grabbing the gun like this, and then holding the other hand like that. Or what I was thinking as well was he'd be having his hand on the ground the same way when he like walks on all fours, and just has the sling like over his shoulder. So they're constantly like the gun is just swinging under them at a 90-degree angle to the floor, and they just grab it by the side on their hip and then just fire it. I feel like that'd be more appropriate for them. Because if the handle is curved like it's supposed to be, then he has to hold it all the way out in front of him like this, and then he has to have the other hand on the barrel as well, and then he's gonna have to right himself up, which he probably isn't. Maybe if they modified the firing, uh, they'd have put a large raised sight the front in order to aim it. No, I don't think a sight would be necessary for this one at least. Um, they'd use it close quarters. They wouldn't pop their head out of the trenches, and they certainly wouldn't be shooting people from afar. The like think about this. For the Hatchfolk, firing the gun is the last option, you know? So that's the last like thing they would think of doing. If there's a dangerous threat far away, they wouldn't snipe it. They'd run away. Because if it's far away enough that they need to aim down the barrel or aim down a scope, then they can also just run down the nearest hatch. They have enough time. This is for I don't have time to run. There's no hatch close to me. I'm cornered situation. So in that case, you'd most likely be in the range where you just blast them hip fire style, you know? So I think it makes sense that they don't have scopes, because they wouldn't be firing at things that are that far away, because that's not a threat to them. They're not firing at things that are not a threat. Oh, I'll be right back, by the way. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Would the Hatchfolk prefer big calibers? Um, I don't know. I don't think so. Seeing as how I'm talking about how they would shoot it, sort of like slung under their body, I don't think they'd want anything that's like too punchy. You know, they're not holding it with two hands a lot of the time, so I don't think they'd want something that really like kicks, because they're small. You know, and they don't have a stock on it either. They're not resting it on their shoulders. So yeah, probably not like big calibers. It'd be better, obviously, if they did, because then, they can take out bigger targets. But just size wise, I think it'd be impractical for them. It'd be a lot heavier for them as well. Yeah, they can stick the buttstock into, or they can stick the stock into the ground as well. I think that'd be really fun. If they're like anticipating a threat, if they're cornered, I can picture it if they're like cornered and they know something's gonna come around the next bend to get them. They just stick it into the ground and just stare at the corner and wait, just camping like rats. Does this universe have something equivalent to stick grenades? Yes, yes, we do. We even have sling grenades. That's the fun ones. I was thinking combining plumbata and grenades, or like slingshots and grenades. So basically, big like solid sling ammo that has a string attached that ignites the fuse when it lets go, and you just sling it like those Roman soldiers, like just fucking sling it over the shoulder, launch it like across the battlefield into a random trench. Did he answer my question? Oh, would the Hatchfolk prefer big calibers? No, 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 they wouldn't. Uh, it'd be better because then they can take out big threats, but because of their small size, it's just not quite. It wouldn't work. They're too small, too weak, too flimsy. What's the reason for keeping a full-sized rifle for this purpose rather than something like a snub-nosed or Obre's pistol? Because I like it. I want him to have long, because he's standing with like a walking stick, so I wanted to have like a weapon that's long enough to hold like a walking stick. So I gave him this. A gun like a little pistol would definitely make more sense. You're right. A lot of hatchfolk would probably have guns or little pistols instead. But for this one, I just wanted to have a rifle. So yeah, it's both. This is not like a representation of universally what every hatchfolk have. The whole point of the hatchfolk is that they're scavengers. They put shit together randomly out of things they've scavenged. So like the variety amongst hatchfolk of what they use is vast. It doesn't, they're not sticking to a like specific loadout or anything. And also we can excuse it by just saying, well, he just hasn't found a gun. Like he hasn't found a pistol that works. This is the only thing he's found that works. So that's what he's using. So if he had like one of those pistols, he'd probably use it. He just doesn't. That can be the excuse. It's not. The actual excuse is I just wanted a longer gun. But we could say that it was that. Do they often carry shovels? No. I don't think they'd often carry shovels. They're too big and too like cumbersome. Uh, and also, I think they would carry shovels if they're exiting the tunnels for a specific purpose. If the whole point is that they're going out to like dig more entries, then yes, they would equip themselves with a shovel and then most likely only a shovel and maybe like a backup weapon or something like that, and then go out, do the digging, and then come back or hide out or whatever. So they wouldn't like carry a shovel randomly in case they need to dig something. Um, it makes, to me it makes sense that they would be very light. Like, uh, yes, it would fit into the scavenger look of them if they just have a bunch of knickknacks on them. But on the other hand, also it makes it so it seems like their intent is really unclear, and I want it to come across more that they are very knowing of, like, they always exit their hatch with a plan. There's never a reason if a hatchfolk is seen outside of their hatch, that means they're doing something. They're not just wandering, collecting random things, and then entering when they think they've had enough. They're always incredibly efficient in what they do. So you never see them with just piles of stuff on them. There is always just, oh, he has a bundle of weapons on his back, and that's it, nothing else, because he came out of the trench, scavenged weapons, ran back in. That's it. He came out with a shovel. That means he's going to dig something, nothing else, and then he's going to come back. Like that. Uh, oh yeah, the hook. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The hook would really be a good. You're right. I didn't think about that use of the hook. It would be really good to pull people down from no man's land if they're like on the edge of the trench and they don't want to pop their heads out to take like the bodies down. They can just pull them, like they can reach their gun up and like yank them down into the trench to scavenge them. So yeah, I think that's great then. Yeah. I didn't think about that at all, but that would be the use case they would use it for. Okay, now here comes the problem. Um, how how detailed are we going? Because there's a lot of stuff going on, even with this like more simpler looking one out of the bunch. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of little angles and nooks and pieces. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to portray all of them perfectly accurately. I don't have like the fucking blueprints, and also I'm not good enough to do that. So I'm sort of just gonna do like a simplification of what it is, just enough to make it look like it could work, but not actually. So like, how much of this are we gonna actually model out? Also, the other side. The other side's luckily like very simple. It's very forgiving. That's mostly why I chose this gun as a starting off point because it's very forgiving. Not much going on the surface. But yeah, this side I can definitely show all of it. I can already think of how I can design this, and it's also very miniature friendly. I think design wise, like it's very clear what it is. It's big circle and then a stick coming out of it. You can use it to reload the thing. But the other side here, this is the tough part. Like there's a bunch of little like knots or nuts and bolts and things. Yikes! Like how am I gonna? Is it going to be a fully sculpted model? I might get carried away and make it a fully sculpted model. It's the plan is to make a miniature, but because it's like the first humanoid model I'm making, I think I'm getting a bit carried away with how much detail I'm going into. A lot of this is not going to be seen, but it's also good practice, so I'm just going for it. Uh, and if it doesn't work at the scale, then so be it. It'll be a learning lesson or a lesson learned. Yeah, yeah. I'll make the gun a separate version, a separate model. Don't worry. So if you want, you can definitely like have the gun separate. But then again, that means like I might need to make the gun like quite detailed to hold up on its own, and under scrutiny. I don't know if you intentionally want like a pile of scrap looking gun to put in the shop though. I guess you can use it to like kit bash, but I don't. Uh, when it comes to kit bashing, I don't know much about kit bashing. With like making miniatures, normally when there's soldiers, the guns are attached to the arms, right? Like the guns don't come separate. It's not like they have like an open hand with a slot in it, and then you can stick the gun onto the hand, right? Like normally the gun is stuck to a hand, and then you just have multiple arms that are holding multiple different guns. Because the thing is, with every gun, you're holding it differently. So the arms have to be in a specific configuration to hold each weapon, so they're like unique. So like I wouldn't be able to like give you, or it wouldn't be possible to print this gun model separately and then like kit bash it to have somebody hold it. I guess you can like get a fist, like have somebody that has like a fist for their hand, and then just cut this in two, like cut the handle off of this and just stick the top of the gun to the top of the hand, and then the bottom of the gun to the bottom of the fist. But then you need to find an arm that's posed properly for the. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. You can probably figure some the kit bashers will figure it out if they want to. They'll figure it out. They're fucking magicians. Because sculpting gun models are kind of weird. People don't really sculpt. What I asked is because sculpted gun models are kind of weird. People don't really sculpt guns. What? I think people sculpt like guns a lot. There's there's so many gun models. What do you mean? Or you mean like specifically flintlock guns? I think like there's so many so many guns that I saw on like the 3D model places and stuff. Having a noticeable difference in detailing could be a way to distinguish the different pieces that make up the gun, showing that they don't belong to the same weapon. Yeah, that's sort of the plan, is that this they have differing levels of detail. Well, not that crazily, but I wanted this hammer of the gun to be like the most ornate piece that's like taking inspiration from this. Not to this extent, but like the teeth here that looks like sort of like a serpent thing going on. So it sort of feels like this is a separate part from the main body, took from a different gun, and then the barrel is from a different gun as well. It's like tied together here, and then the design language of this part compared to the body is slightly different, not that crazily, but you know, you might be able to tell that it's not from the same gun. I think he means people don't sculpt guns as in engineer what as in engineers certainly don't. CAD software, not a sculpting software. Well, I'm gonna do hard surface. Like I'm not actually gonna I'm think most of this will be hard surface, like from the barrel down, but then like the cloth here I'll have to actually sculpt. The back of the handle here will be sculpted. So yeah, that's what I mean. Like I'm not gonna sculpt the hard parts. Or like the you know, that doesn't make sense. So I need to do hard surface modeling for those, and then the floppy parts are sculpting. Yeah, sorry, I just used the word sculpt for everything if that was the thing you got confused on. I don't mean literally sculpt the gun. I'm gonna use hard surface modeling for the hard parts of the gun. You can just cut the gun off the miniature and put the printed one in the spot. Yeah, okay. So yeah, it is like possible to do that. I'm simplifying the shape right now, by the way. I'm not going off of the reference anymore. I'm just like making things a lot easier for me to digest. I think I'll cut this down here so it's a lot clearer that that's supposed to move forward. And then we also need to move this back. Hold on. I'm just checking if the angle is actually right. It'd have to be... Yeah. Yeah, okay. And this part is still metal, right? I'm having a hard time seeing which part is metal and not because of the glare. This whole side piece is metal up till here. Eh. I'll have to model the top of the gun too to make sure like how thick each of these components are. I can't just do a side view. I don't know enough about guns to guess that. So the stock cuts. Where is that cut off? There. Is that this? That is this. And then the metal runs down the bottom of the barrel quite far. So the metal stops here. And this is wood. This here is wood. And then this is wood. And this is still metal. Metal cuts off there. Yeah, okay, cool. We'll add someone else here as a forgotten weapons enjoy. Oh yeah, of course. And it's a incredible source for references, especially for for guns. Invaluable resource because there's only so much you can get out of images, and I don't know any of like better sources than just Googling guns to find interesting weapons. And because they're so niche, it's pretty much impossible to find those uh, without knowing what you're looking for. So that channel's just great because he shows specifically the interesting ones, and also it's moving, so he turns them around and you can see them from multiple angles, and also uh, 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 he explains the mechanism, which is really helpful because just looking at images, I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at 90% of the time. Because flintlocks especially are so complex with their mechanism. I mean, modern guns are complex too, but exteriorly, there's not on the outside there's not much going on. But with flintlocks, there's most of it's like on the outside. So at first, when I was like first learning about flintlocks, it was so hard to like wrap my head around what the hell is even going on on some of the guns. Wheel locks as well. Goodness, when I first saw a wheel lock, I was like, what the fuck is that? There's just a random like circle. There's like two circles in the middle. What is that? What does that do? Congrats on 300K. Oh yeah, yay, 300K. Yes, thank you. Yo, where's my Burla chest bouncer for my Hatchfolk? Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'm liking where this is going. It's definitely becoming more solidified. And I'll figure out the pattern on the thing later. Oh, wait. Right. Because the gun automatically cocks itself. There's no like finger part to cock it. Well, we did say that this part's from like a different gun, so we can just totally say, oh well, the firing hammer that he took from another weapon has one, even though this one cocks the gun itself. What's the? I'm thinking what the design on this head's gonna be. I do like the jaw shape on this, so I'll probably like just take that, steal that jaw shape. Is the puppet soldier entry in the codex yet? No, no, not yet. I wrote it down in the codex somewhere, I think, like cursed soldiers, but I didn't like uh write it out yet. There's so much shit I still need to write out. And it's really hard to write it. I can write it roughly first just to get my ideas out and then like clean it up later, but it just feels wrong. I it just feels wrong cuz I doubt anyone's going to read it more than once if they do. So I really don't want anybody to like stumble upon it and then, read the rough draft of it, get one I like get a that's their perception of the idea, and then move on and then never read the rewritten version of it. So if I do write it, I'd rather just try to make it nice from the get go, which is kind of hard because then that means it slows down the pace at which I can add the entries quite a fair bit because I need to write them nice as well. And I want to write them in a very particular way. The more recent ones that I've added are definitely closer to how I want it to be. Uh, if you did read some of them, my idea of how I want to write them is basically all the entries are understandable on their own. The whole point is that the world is a collection of individual ideas that just happen to be in the same world. So each entry needs to be understandable independently from the other entries. So they need to have just enough information to get by on their own and convey the general gist of the idea, but also not give too much, because too much contextual information makes things very quickly confusing. If the entry about um like the Burlaman, for example, if I write that, I can't go into the history of Burla, or shouldn't go into like random tidbits about the world and stuff like that, because that means you need the context of those things to understand it. So I need to write it in a way where um yeah, it doesn't do that, which is hard. How are you doing? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Uh, but yeah, so some entries I think I've done that well with. Some others not. I still need to rewrite some of them. But the entries I did it good with, I think, are the ones where the first one or two sentences encapsulate the whole idea of the entry. So even without any of the context, you immediately, like, just from starting reading it, you get the gist of what the interesting part about this is, and then it goes into more detail about that thing with just enough clarity to, like, but not too much. So like, I think an entry that I'm really happy about is the coffin tank one, because it starts off as just being uh the first sentence is like, it's a uh giant tractor clad in a heavy layer of armor, like a giant magic powered tractor clad in a layer of armor, and that's it. Because like I could have started by talking into the history of how it came about, but you sort of just need to figure out, okay, why do I care about this thing? It's literally a fantasy killdozer equivalent. It's like, oh, okay, it's the fantasy killdozer equivalent. Okay, cool. Tell me more, you know? And that hook's really hard to write, especially for locations. For creatures and characters, it's a little easier. But like for location, it's really hard, because like, how do you say the hook of a location and also express the mood and feel of it in like a timely manner? It's so fucking hard. I'm still stuck on Burla. Like, Burla is the next entry I want to write, but like, I don't know, man. It's so hard to write the entry on Burla. Like, the what I got at this point is hold on. This is what I got about Burla. It's um Burla is an Burla is an ever-expanding labyrinthian city that grows like a tumor at the base of one of the world pillars. A slowly churning tidal wave of rubble and debris, buildings rising out of ruins, only to collapse in on themselves again. That's it. But it's a little... it's not good. It's not good yet, right? Because I don't know if I want to say that it's at the base of a world pillar, because that kind of makes it confusing. And labyrinthian city, I don't know if that's like a good descriptor, or and the last part is, it seems to grow with the intention of carving a path through the trenches, heading towards the mana core. So it it sets the mood of, like, the city is a giant labyrinth that grows and like crumbles on top of itself into like a tidal wave, pretty much. Like, you seen those videos of the aftermath of like tsunamis, or like floods, where the water is powerful enough that it just drags entire buildings and city blocks along with it. That's sort of the look I'm going for with the edge of Burla, where it's like this churning lump of debris and buildings just toppling over themselves constantly, like a Jenga tower being rebuilt and falling over as it's carving its way across the trenches. But I'm not sure yet. And then the issue is like, how do I talk about the city? There's so much that there is to say about the city. So like it's really hard to separate that into, okay, what's the most important information? Do I talk about the history of what Burla used to be before the war, or do I talk about what it is currently? Do I talk about the expeditions that are going on in Burla? Do I talk about the Burlamen that are outside of Burla? Do I talk about the location itself, like the different rings that make up Burla, the outer ring that's like that tidal wave, and then inner rings where it stabilizes more and the buildings don't collapse in on themselves, and the denser rings where the sun starts getting blocked out, and the waterways and whatever. Yeah, there's just a lot. So it's really hard to do it with locations. With creatures, it's or characters or like little things, it's a lot easier to write. Like the slag shell, I'm really happy with the slag shell as well. So the slag shell starts off saying the slag shell, a giant magical creature that shoots forged metal spikes out of their modified front claws like biological rail guns. That's it. Like that's the hook of it. And I'm really happy that I thought of that because I need to make all the entries like that. So literally the first sentence or two just tell you immediately what is this thing and why is it cool. Oh, it's a giant thing that shoots its own forged fucking gut like bullets out of railgun claws. And then you're like, tell me more. And then it goes into like actual like lore. Yeah, what was the one for the crawling or the coffin tank? The coffin tank is a giant magical power or magic powered tractor encased in a hunk of metal, equipped with cannons mounted on either side like a battleship. There you go. I think that's a good way of describing it. It immediately goes into the gist of what it is. What's cool about this? Well, it's a tractor in a hunk of metal with cannons on each side. There you go. Yeah. So that's the hard part. I think I still need to rewrite the Bunker City one. I'm hesitant because there's a lot with the Bunker Cities, but the Bunker Cities entry is like really long. I feel like I could probably like slim it down or separate some pieces off into their own entry to make it more digestible instead of just having it in one big block. But it still starts off good. The Bunker Cities of Ram are their largest defensive front. Originally built with the intent to house the refugees of the war, they eventually grew into massive, impenetrable cities. That's it. I think that's a good descriptor. But I haven't like that one's nice, but with Burla, still not sure, not sure. And the trenches as well. The trenches were really hard to write. What did I write for the trenches? Oh, bunkers, tunnels, trenches, etched deep into the land. A maze as far as the eye can see, ruins upon ruins, paved over, collapsed, dug out, and reinforced once more. A burial ground for the centuries of lives and history poured into it. But this place is not stagnant. It is not a wasteland. It is alive. It churns and hungers. Ooh. Woo! But yeah, the whole gist of the trenches as well. It's like, yeah, I love using the word mazing. Everything's mazing. Everything's claustrophobic, mazing, ever changing, churning. Those are my go-to fucking descriptors. But yeah, the trenches. I really want them to not be a wasteland. Like the way I've illustrated them, I think isn't right yet because they're a location of mass death, right? There's constantly conflict going on. There's constantly it's getting destroyed, paved over, reinforced, and like remodeled over and over again. But because of that mass death, there is a flourishing ecosystem that was created out of that. The same way a whale fall attracts countless like deep sea creatures to feast upon its corpse. The trenches are so alive, teeming with things that are reaping the rewards of the war. Scavengers, hunters, different animals, flora, fungi, rot, everything just piles onto it because there's so much to gain from it. No clue what Burla is, and found that to be an interesting and informative hook. Okay, good. That's good then. Yeah. Because I guess the hard part is that hook sort of describes the feel of Burla, but it doesn't tell you what the purpose of Burla is. Um, but I guess that's not necessary. Like I can leave that for the next paragraph to be like, nowadays it's, it has valuable resources in it, and there's both factions are fighting over sending expeditions into it to scavenge for said resources, blah blah blah, whatever. Um, yeah, I still need a lot. I still have so much to learn with writing. Like the more I write, the very slowly better I get. But still, it's so rudimentary. Fucking, it sounds like a kid describing what they think is cool. Like I'm playing with action figures. Yeah, I guess that's some of the charm of it. Um, you're hella good at writing. Okay, never mind. I guess I'm good at writing. Who are your favorite authors? Well, shit. I'm sorry to say I don't read. Um, the way I write is just influenced by what I like. Like I like things that are very straightforwards, don't use too complicated words, and just explain things very nicely. So I write it until I think I like it. I don't read any like authors, so I don't have any base of ref. It'd be good if I did. Probably, I'd probably be writing a lot better if I actually like read books. But I don't. I get bored by books a lot. I'm very bad at reading long things. For some reason, when I draw, I can visualize my own stuff, right? Like I draw it and I sort of have an idea of what I want it to look like. I have like a visual, that Apple thing that they tell you, like, oh, how much can you imagine? Like, imagine an apple. What do you see? And I was like, I sort of see an apple when it comes to my own stuff. I'm like, I sort of see what I want it to be, but I still do need to like draw it out. But when it comes to like books and like reading books and imagining the world, uh, I can't do that at all. I tried. I've tried so much. But every time I read a book, I get lost and I just like forget what line I'm on, and all of the context just disappears and evaporates out of my head. Like I need to keep flipping back and forth and shit because I forget who's who and who's talking. And also I can't see shit. Why am I blind? I'm book blind. Like when I think of my own stuff, like yeah, I see like what I want it to look like. But when a book about somebody else's word tries to describe what it looks like oh, this building is blah, 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 and all those descriptors, and I'm like, I don't see shit. What does this place look like? I don't fucking know. I wished I had like that ability to like conjure imagery in my head as I read, but no, it's just blank for some reason. It just doesn't work. You're not reading the right books. I mean, I've heard that, man. But I can't read. I just yeah, audiobooks might be more appealing to me. I just like images, man. I just like seeing pictures. Uh so yeah, which is kind of weird because I don't read myself, and I'm making an codex for other people to read. Uh, so that's kind of weird. Um, yeah. So maybe when other people read this, they also don't see what I see, or it doesn't make fucking sense. But yeah. Another quick question: how would you, Monster Garden, feel if I tried writing something in your world? I'd love it. Go ahead. go for it. Fucking yeah. That's the whole point. I think I need to. You gotta tell me a way to make that more clear, because the whole idea behind Rust and Trenches for me is that I want to make it's a collection of a bunch of cool ideas that I have, and I make and I do I create with you guys as well, like on streams and stuff. And then at the end of the day, it's a bunch of cool ideas. And if you get inspired by some of these ideas or feel encouraged to write your own like lore or fan fiction or want to explore some of the ideas that I briefly brush over more deeply, I fully encourage you doing that. Like that's the whole point is I want to just make a big pile of ideas that you can take and make your own and use in your own D&D campaigns or world building projects or whatever the fuck you want. Um, and none of it's more or less canon. Like some of the ideas are completely separate from each other or like overlap each other and make each other not canon, but I don't care about canon. I don't care about it. Um so like you can take it is the same level of validness if you tried to make a fan story and try to follow every aspect of the world to a T and make it as accurate as possible. But it is also completely valid to literally just take one piece of the world that you find appealing and then make up the rest. Just throw out the rest and make your own shit up and just use that one little piece. I love that. You don't need to have like, oh, I want to the bunker cities are a really cool idea, but I don't want to write about Ram and Varus. I want to make up my own factions. Then fucking do that and just take the bunker city idea. I don't need you to take everything that comes with it. You know, it's all different little pieces, and you can choose to take as much as you want from it, but you don't have to take all of it. You don't have to take even you can take the smallest bit of it and run with it and make up the rest. Cinematic universe, yeah, kinda. Uh, yeah, that's the idea of it. So if you want to make like a story in my world, go for it. I'd love to, and don't worry about lore. Don't worry about making it accurate. Just make it cool. Make up your own shit. Like, oh, does Ram do this and that? Like, if you want them to, sure, and write that then. You know, you don't have to stick to it. Uh, and that's good for me too, because the thing is, I'm really bad at writing. I think I'm better at setting things up. Like, I'm good at coming up with cool ideas and scenarios, but I'm really bad at writing stories. Like, I suck at writing actual stories with character development or interesting characters or a developing plot. Like, I suck at that the most. But I'm sort of good at setting up interesting locations where a story might take place, like the bunker cities. The idea of the bunker cities is cool. Like, oh, there's tensions between people and the Hatchfolk. You know, what are their relations like? There's a bunch of crime that happens. There's tunnels and entryways and um, factions and rules and guards. So there's all of these interesting things that could take place and interact with a story in a fun way. I'm just not going to be the guy who makes that fucking story because I can't think of it. You know, but it would be cool if there was a story. So that's where you come in, I guess, if you want, and just make a story up in that place and just use those bits and pieces. Good to team up with in order to make some kind of finished product with the world. I don't think no. Okay, I suck at working with people. I'm not good at working with people. I am incredibly flawed as a person. I know I am. And there are a bunch of shortcomings that I have that makes it so I'm really bad at working with people. I'm very picky. I'm very stubborn. Uh, and so like and I'm very bad at communicating what I want. Uh, and I also am very spontaneous, not in a good way, not like the, oh, I'm spontaneous, I'll take you out on a date randomly on a Sunday. No, I'm spontaneous in the fact that I'll randomly decide to change a piece of the lore just because one day I thought, oh, actually that piece sucks, never mind, let me throw all of that out and replace it with something else. And that'd be a nightmare to work with. Because I'm also very picky, but I can't tell you what I need, but I know what I need, but I can't explain it. I can't work with people. I've tried, it doesn't work. And I don't think it needs to be an end product. Like, what do you think it should turn into in your mind? Like, what do you think the end goal is? Because for me, I think having it turn into a codex where it's just a giant canvas full of cool ideas you can read, and then a bunch of miniatures you can download and print out if you want, and some stat blocks you can use. It like the end product is to make building blocks that you can use to turn into other things. Um, I'm not gonna like make a story set in the setting. I don't have the attention span. I don't have the skill for that. I'm much more interested in just making interesting scenarios and locations and characters and not exploring those characters any further. So I'm just gonna stick with that. And then you can do whatever you want with them, and that'll be the end of it. Whatever it turns into after that, I don't know. I'm not gonna. I don't want to think too far into the future after that anymore. Just make shit. Yeah, like my goal at the end of the day is just to have as many cool ideas piled into a little neat pile uh as I can, and then just pick them up in my hands and like shake them around and giggle. Funny little ideas. All my little ideas. Like a dragon and a horde. Have you heard of Kowloon City? That's the inspiration. I wrote that inspiration into the entry of the bunker cities. That's at the bottom. I say that the whole the main inspiration from for the interior of the bunker city is Kowloon. And also uh, uh, Garage. It's a game called Garage that also took a bunch of inspiration from Kowloon for its environments. Movie would go hard? No, I don't think so. I don't think a Rust and Trenches movie would go hard. If I wrote it, it would suck. If somebody else capable wrote it, then yeah. But then, of course, like if somebody who was good at writing movies wrote my movie, then it'd be a good movie. No shit. Uh, but yeah, it'd be an interesting setting, I guess. It's an interesting setting for things to take place in. I just don't know what the movie would focus on. There's so many different aspects of the world that you could put a character into and have them go through a story. Um, so yeah, I have no idea. Or maybe maybe the best kind of movie for Rust and Trenches that would appeal to me would be like not a clear story following one character, but sort of a Mad God style, just romp through this crazy world in a weird like disconjoined way. So you just see the different layers or places. Oh, never mind. Okay, actually, what would be best would be something like Love, Death, and Robots, actually. So no movie, just very short entries exploring different aspects of the world. Because I feel like, yeah, each piece of the world would be fun to an extent, and you can like explore it uh, to that extent in like a short, like 20-minute format. Same as like Love, Death, and Robots. Like you can definitely make like a short story about a witch hunter and like hunting down a witch in a bunker city or something like that. And then you can make another entry about some soldiers running into a crawling bishop, and then another entry about the Hatchfolk, and then scavenging through the trenches. So it's like all these, or an expedition into Burla. All of those separate storylines can just be explored in small little bits and pieces. Short stories of characters in different factions. Yeah, I feel like that'd be a lot more fitting. It would fit a lot more with how I think about the world as well. Because yeah, I made the codex in small little entries. That's how I think about the world. I don't think about it as a long continuous storyline. It's all these like little bits and pieces that happen at the same time. So it would be impossible for one character to travel through all of them in in a linear fashion. Like who the fuck would that guy be? John Trenches himself, running from one edge of the earth, zigzagging across the trenches, getting to every single location of interest. He runs from the back of the fucking bunker cities to Burla, and then back to the Bleeding Belfries, hitches a ride with the witch hunters, goes back to the trenches, hangs out with the Hatchfolk, goes to the watchtowers in Varus, then goes to the Manticore. Like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, yeah, it definitely need to be separate stories. You can't just have one guy do all of it. Yeah, a walking tank driver would definitely be cool. That'd be a cool story. Yeah. But the thing is, I gotta die first. I gotta be dead first before somebody takes it and makes something like that out of it. Because I'm like I said, I'm very stubborn and very picky. I I'm telling you, I'm gonna be one of those like writers. I don't want to call myself a writer, but one of those creators that like when the license when I like sell the license or whatever, or somebody makes something else out of it, I'm gonna hate it. That'll be me. I don't think I'm gonna be able to like it because it's my baby. It's my baby. So if they'll butcher it in some way, and I'll just be like, like, yeah, great. Glad you're happy. Well, nah, actually, I don't think I'd feel that way. Because the thing is, like I said, uh, after you make it your own, like if you want to take pieces of it and just run with them, make your own fan fiction or whatever the fuck, it's out of my hands. So at that point, it's like whatever you do with it, up to you. And if you're happy with it, cool. So like what I'm responsible for is just the entries and the miniatures and that stuff. What people do with those entries, I'm not responsible for that. So if somebody butchers it into a fucking a Disney special or whatever, don't never let Disney go near it. Yes, that's the last thing I'll let happen. But yeah, if like Disney takes it and fucking butchers it into some whatever the hell, I'll just turn the other cheek and be like, that's just not mine anymore. Like at that point, just whatever. I still have my Codex and whatever that that's worth to just compile a bunch of short stories into an anthology. Yeah, that would be fun. But yeah. I still need to like put that into the codex, but I want everything that I make to be under it was CCN whatever license. Licenses. Basically the one where it's like you can use it for whatever you want. You gotta credit me because I please give me some credit. Uh, but you can't use it for financial gain. So that's my idea. Is like I want people to be able to use it for whatever the fuck they want, but just not to make money because then otherwise some shitty corporation's gonna come and yoink it and fucking do some of it or whatever. I don't know how licenses work that well yet. I'll have to read more about it, but I think that's sort of the gist of the type of license I want. Creative Commons non-commercial. Yes, that one. Creative Common non-commercial. That one. Yeah. So that's the plan. Is like you can just go with it, do whatever with it, but don't make money with it. Yeah. Got a credit chat too for the ideas. Yeah. I don't think the credit's necessary. Honestly, like, is that a part of it? I don't think crediting me is necessary because the thing is, like, if you take like a tiny piece of it and just make it your own, like, at what point is it not necessary to credit me? Like you can if you want. You could be like, oh, I took inspiration from this guy called Monster Garden. But if you don't want to, then just fucking don't. Um, yeah, but yeah, definitely got to credit chat too. Like, I definitely I try to make sure that I don't. Uh, I hope I don't come across as like saying that I came up with all of this. I definitely didn't. So I hope nobody mistakes mistakes this as like, oh, look at me, genius! I made all this. Like, fuck though. Like 90% of this is you guys helping me come up with it, and fucking Shabby and Sedeka, who are helping me as well, doing it as well. Like the Witch Tears Burla, like the origins of Burla were also Shabby and Sedeka. Um, the Bleeding Belfries is Shabby and Sedeka as well. And like the Slag Shelf was from a collab. The Coffin Tank was on a stream. The Pillarmen are also like I designed partially on a stream, and the War Dancers as well. Like all of them are like a weird collaborative effort. So I don't want to like take sole credit for any of them for sure. Pretty clear in the videos. Okay, thank goodness. Yeah. Is when if I do like design something on stream with people, I do want to make sure I state that so it doesn't come across as just me taking the credit for basically just cultivating people's ideas and mashing them together uh, into my own thing. Okay. Anyway, sorry, that was a very long and drawn out tangent. Let's get back to drawing. SCP has this kind of license, if I remember, or at least similar. Yeah, yeah. So something in the sense of like SCP kind of thing. And I don't think I'd fall to the same problems as SCP because wasn't like the thing that people weren't really happy with SCP is like because anybody could add entries, it sort of like became bloated and very disconjoined of like what the hell the mood or like the theme of the world actually is because everybody had like a different interpretation of it, so it became just like this amalgamation of like different ideas and concepts. uh I'd love if it turned into that for me. I don't think that I feel like that'd be great. Like if it sort of drifts away from my original idea and just turned into its own thing where everybody has its own interpretation of it and it like turns into this weird eldritch abomination of different concepts and stories, I'd fucking love that. Be like, fuck yeah. Like that's great. I wouldn't be sad that like the that my like if somebody writes a story that completely changes the mood of the trenches into like a jovial place. I wouldn't care. Like, yeah, great. That's great. I'm contradicting myself, aren't I? I made a joke like just a few seconds ago that I'm gonna cry if like a big studio takes my thing and then turns it into something and butchers it. And now I'm saying that it's great if you butcher it. I don't know what I want. On in the end, I guess I don't know. I don't know what I want. I'm very indecisive. I'll get canceled for it eventually. Don't worry. I'll get canceled. Somebody's gonna get pissed and they'll make a fucking compilation of every time I like in the past like 100 streams, every time I've contradicted myself by saying something and then changing my mind afterwards. Uh, and then that'll get me off the platform, erased from the face of the earth. You should make some sort of way for people to share their own ideas or whatever in order to encourage that. Yeah, yeah. I don't know how I do that though. Like make a website, I guess. We could just go the SCP route and yeah, just make a website and do that. But that'd be a whole undertaking, you know? Like oh yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll still have to like think about it. I'm still not sure how to do that. I'm trying to figure out what the hell this is. Like what's going on under here? Oh, I know exactly what's going on under there, actually. This lug here is connected to this ring. So when this moves along here, it's the thing that closes the flash pan. So it hits this thing. and then closes this up, and then I think it like internally this gets moved back as well. So yeah, I know exactly what that is actually. Uh, so this is like the lug that moves that, and I also already drew that in. Oh, hold on. If it's closed, it would need to be like up here because it's already gotten pushed up. Uh, they've set this. Yeah, I guess if it's a studio butchering it, I feel like of Tink and Twink. Half of new objects now are just novels, which have its place on a site, but I don't know why there are like mixing, like it's really different tones from old objects. Oh, you mean talking about SCP? Has this kind of license? Oh, if you're talking about SCP, I think that's completely fine though. Like inevitably that was going to happen. Like if you let people write stories about something, that you established a sort of mood and style from the get go, it'll eventually like twist and contort into its own thing. But I think that's like beautiful. I think that's like its own like thing, which is completely fine. Like the thing is, the original still exists, so you can just not read the new ones. You know, you can just like that's what I think about with my world as well. If I add something that you don't like into the setting, then you can just think about it as not existing. You don't need to think that it's all there, right? Each piece is separate. You can just remove the ones you don't like. Who made SCP? I have no idea. Shouldn't there be like some sort of guard around the trigger since Hatchfolk would be close to the ground? Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. Some sort of guard would be very good. It looked kind of cool too. Would they do it this way? I feel like this looks really goofy. Hold on, maybe I need to like shorten this trigger. If it looks wonky, I think that's good though. Oh yeah, that's cool. I like that. Yeah, thank you for that suggestion. I completely forgot, yeah. If it's close to the ground, it'd be good to have a guard. They just bent a piece of metal into that shape. There we go. Got a guard. I imagine it probably went off once or twice before they added the guard. They're like, oh, my new gun, awesome. Let's take it out for a spin. Bang! And they're like, oh, fuck. Okay, right. Shit, I need a guard for this thing. Hammers a piece of metal. Okay, there you go. Now we have a guard. Half cock if you don't want a guard. No, we're not half cocking in this household. We're full cocking all the way. Hatch folks don't half cock. They either full cock or they don't cock at all. Oh yeah, I didn't finish reading that. A studio butchering it is butchering it for profit. The community butchers it for the love of the game. Yeah, I guess yes. I agree with that. I guess I can have those two opinions simultaneously of crying if a studio does it, but being happy if people do it. Because people do it out of passion, studios do it out of profit. Um, And also, it would be to a much bigger audience in that case. So, like, that would be how they would get exposed to it, which would just pain me more. Because, like, imagine, oh no, imagine that. The thing is, if it does happen, this is like a, all of this is like a what if scenario. By the way, I'm not saying like, oh, my world's so good, it's gonna get adapted. Surely, uh, most likely it's not gonna get adapted. We're just like hypothetically having fun thinking about a what if scenario. If it does get adapted in that way, 100% people are gonna think that I signed off on it, and they're gonna think that I had a say in it, right? Which I most likely didn't. So if it turns out shit, it's worse than if people made fanfic. Because if people made fanfic, that's clear. Like, yeah, they made a fanfic of it. But if it's like an actual production of something, people will see that and say, that's ass. This Rust and Trenches is ass. Which means the guy who made it, oh, who made that? Simon. He's that's shit. Why do people like this? And I'd cry because at that point, because they'd see it as being my thing, if it does happen. So they'd think that I made it shit. I didn't make it shit. I tried making it not shit. You know, it fell out of my hands. They ripped it from my grasp. They ripped my poor baby from my weak little hands, and butchered him in front of me. Is properly, then you would have to sign off on it for a big production to be made. Okay, I won't then. Well, how do I? Okay, I talked about the license once before in stream. I still don't know how to apply a license. How the fuck do I do that? Do I just state it? Do I just have to state it? Like, is that it's like a written or not a written? It's a spoken agreement, or I have to like write it somewhere on a website or like in the Codex to make it official, to have people know like, oh, this is everything I make is under CCN whatever license, and then that's the case from that point onwards. Some YouTuber would tell them, "Oh yeah, there'll be uh some YouTubers making videos about it and being like, what am I even saying? What the fuck am I saying? Make it very well known. So just plastering it the more places the better. I'm not the person to ask. Yeah, sorry. I don't know why I keep asking chat like you guys are some sort of fucking uh like malevolent thing outside of space and time that just knows things that I ask. Like there's a professional for everything in my chat. But no, I'm just asking because most likely you guys at least know a little more than I do because I know fuck all. Put it in. Okay, yeah, I'll just paste it wherever the fuck I can then, under videos and the Codex everywhere in like a big red box, stuff like that. And I guess I have to. Yeah, I'm gonna stop asking. I, I'm gonna keep asking more legal questions, which is not good. I'll just research it properly myself and make sure that everything's right. We end this conversation in the chat now. I shouldn't have brought it up. I don't know why the fuck I'm asking random chatters for legal advice. There you go. There's the chat does not take any responsibility for legal decisions taken by Monster Garden. You got yourself out of some hot water right there. I was gonna sue you guys if anything went wrong. This chat was going to be legally binding, and you're gonna be in big trouble when my project goes wrong. and big studio steals it, you guys are gonna be the first people I sue, because I'm sure as shit not gonna sue Disney. They're gonna fucking pummel me into the ground. I'd rather sue uh the common man. We totally won't give you bad advice. Thank you. I appreciate that. I fully trust you now with my life. Yeah, I'm really happy with how this gun is looking, by the way. I like it a lot. It's definitely what I want. I'm gonna definitely have to thicken up the hook though, because at miniature scale that thing's gonna snap off instantly. The money already got to his head. Yep, I'm corrupt now. They got me. No, okay. Uh, you don't get it, Stefano. The thing is, I'm biding my time. Not yet. Let's say not yet. The idea is that I have to wait till I get to like 1 million subscribers or followers to start like exuding my negative habits. You know, like for now, I need to sound very agreeable and likable, which I'm doing a bad job at. But for now, I need to be likable and appealing. And then as soon as I reach like a certain threshold of following online, then I need to like crank up the narcissism or like cancelable offenses uh because that's how it goes, you know, like it's the natural like progression of any YouTuber, as you may know. Like that's just the evolution of YouTubers. Minecraft YouTubers, they start off, they're nice and wholesome, and then when they reach 1 million, then they have to very quickly like find a miner to exploit, you know, like that's in the contract. And then for like or you or I start like a really bad music career, or I can do a rug pull if you want. Like we can get to like 1 million, and then I make like a Rust and Trenches coin, and then I can just scam all of you. That also be a cool thing to do, right? Because then I'd be a billionaire from that, and then I just disappear. And then later on in life, like after a few years and the controversy dies down, I'm gonna reappear with a beard and a very monotone, gruff voice, and then start a podcast. And then all of that controversy is just gonna disappear and fade into the background, while impressionable kids are just gonna follow me from that point onwards, and I'll scam those instead. You gotta hide the bad attributes till you don't want. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Not the crypto coin. What other things do you? It's either some illegal shit, rug pulls, bad music careers. That's pretty much it, right? Or good music careers. That happens too. I'm not gonna get that though. That's definitely not me. We discussing what now? No, we're discussing how I'm not actually gonna show my true intentions yet. Like somebody said, "Oh no, the money got to his head," and I'm like, "No, not yet." You know, because I need to make a bigger following than this until like I hit 1 million, and then I can show my true colors and fucking scam all of you or commit some sort of horrid crime. Oh yeah, fake Kickstarter. Fake Kickstarter, that's a thing too. I can do that. Make a fake Kickstarter and just don't deliver. That'd be cool too. CS crates? What do you mean? I make fucking what Counter Strike crates? How the fuck am I? I start. I I make a game and then put microtransactions into it. Okay. Ooh, this is looking so good. I'm really happy with this. I thought I'd start modeling in today's stream as well, but I don't know. I might get too carried away, or I've gotten too carried away talking already, so that's not gonna happen. Maybe. CS Lotto scams? I don't know about those. Why no Trenchtober this year? I just didn't feel it. Uh, yeah. Yeah. I don't. I'm not consistent enough for Inktober. I got it. I managed to succeed Inktober once, and I think that's never gonna happen again. Uh, I'm fine. I have other things I need to do. I have shit to do. I have shit to do. No Inktober. Yeah, I very much admire the people that can do that. I can't. Don't have the drive for it. Yeah. Any suggestions on learning gun anatomy? There's so many types. Uh, it's not really clear where to start. There's so many types. It's not really clear where to start. What do you? But which type do you like? Start with that one then. I didn't like. Wait, how do you think this goes? Do you think like I like studied all the guns? I don't know what the fuck a gun works like either. I pulled up references of this gun, and I'm trying to break it down. And the video that the gun image came from explained how the gun works, so I sort of get it. But yeah, like don't it, it's impossible. When where do you start learning gun anatomy? It's impossible. You pick one gun and then try to figure it out. Um, and preferably you pick a gun that you're interested in. That's the best point. Like, what are you going to use them for? Like, if you want to learn how to make guns, is it for world building? If it's for world building, then first of all, you have to ask yourself, okay, look at some guns. Just look at guns and ask yourself, well, what kind of gun do I like? What kind of gun do I want to add to the world? And then if you find that, you go into that specifically and look up some videos of it, learn about it, figure out what gun you specifically like, and then try to figure out how those guns work. Yeah, memorizes the entire pistol list. Yeah, what I did was I went on Wikipedia. I searched gun, and then I just went down the list from the start of history, from the start of gun history to the current day, and I just drew all the guns, and now I know gun. I know gun. Yeah, no, I don't know. I know the bare minimum. Like I know what I'm looking at to the point where it's like, okay, this is like the hammer, that's the flash pan, that's the thing that covers the flash pan. I don't know the name of that. That's the circle that reloads the thing. That's it. And there's a trigger. There you go. And I just try to make that look like sort of convincing enough. How guns work, but I'm also yeah, sorry. It's not impossible to learn how guns work. Like yeah, the people that make guns know how fucking guns work. Like it has to be possible to know how a gun works. But I mean like guns. Like what do you mean guns? Like it's impossible to start anywhere if you don't have any idea of what you want to accomplish. Is faking it till you make it? Yeah, yeah. Just wing it. Wing everything. If it looks convincing enough, then that's fine. Okay, what do I want to do next? A top view. I wanted to do a top view so that I can know how wide this thing is. World War One gun, World War Two guns are really basic. What do you mean? You wait, what pre World War Two? I feel like no guns are basic. All guns are complicated. Like after cannons, everything became complicated. Cannons was like the most simple gun. It was a barrel with a ball and some gunpowder behind it and a hole at the top where you detonate it from. It was the simplest version of a gun, but anything after that, where trigger mechanisms and hammers and flash pans and shit like that started getting incorporated, it just kept ramping up in complexity. So after that, I don't think there's no simple gun. You should read a bit more about how guns work and then create your own from scratch, which could theoretically work. No, I'm not gonna do that. I don't have the brain for that. Who do you think I am? Make up my own gun? No. The extent of what I can do is steal. That's what I do. I steal. Hello? Uh, so I don't know how thick this gun is. I think I'm gonna... Hold on, let me pull up the video of the gun again, because I need to see if there's like a point where he shows it from the top. Ah, that's too close up, god damn it. That does help a little. Oh, that's interesting. Uh, he shows it from the top, like very close up. This is the top side. And what I find interesting is I think these are the sights. Those grooves are the sights. And through the sights, you can see the cylinder that turns the mechanism, which is really interesting. Why would that be the case? Maybe it's for like clearing jams. I feel like it'd be for clearing jams and stuff like that, because it wouldn't spill out. When you're reloading the gun, you're pointing it down to the ground. So it wouldn't be spilling out of this hole. So you can see like the cylinder with the bullet pass and then the cylinder with the powder pass, which is pretty cool. It's not as complicated as you think. Well, how do I say this? I'm not saying that it's like it's easy to explain it, but I'm meaning like from a drawings perspective. Like I want to talk about all of it from like the perspective of drawing it and making it look like it works. You know, because this isn't that simple to draw. At least not as simple as a tube. Okay. Ah, this is a good image. I got a better image of it. Yeah, I'm just yapping. Don't pay mind to me. Here you go. That's a lot better. It still doesn't help give me much perspective on the size of the rest of it. But it's clear that this central part here with the cylinder is the thickest portion of it, and it sort of tapers down into the barrel. And then the stock is probably this consistent size. this is a nice angle of it as well. Yeah, that helps. That helps. Got this site and it happens to make a hole. I don't think I'm overthinking it. I think that does make sense. Because if it is a circular hole that they made, if they just cut in the site, then it would be this groove shape. But they made it a hole. And so when the holes pass, you could probably use that hole to like clear debris and stuff like that if something malfunctions with the internals. I feel like that makes sense. Or even if that is not the case, then I'd want it to be the case in my version of it. Hello? I want draw. Oh, thank you. Okay, so this portion is the thickest. Uh, and I'm shit together and eating it in hopes it would make them immortal? What? I don't know the history of gunpowder. Don't forget to draw a stick for loading the flintlock rifle under the barrel. This one doesn't have that. Because the gun that I'm using as reference is a self-loading flintlock. This is the beauty. I'm gonna geek out about it again because I have the excuse to. This doesn't have a ramrod because it loads itself. There are compartments on the back of the uh or here that where you load bullets into, like the shot and the black powder, and then turning this entire contraption loads a bullet and the black powder into this like cylinder here that turns around and lets it fall gravity into the barrel, and also automatically fills the flash pan with its own separate compartment of gunpowder and cocks back the hammer for you. So uh, it's not the right word, but it's a magazine fed flintlock, which is awesome. These actually existed, which is incredibly awesome. And that those are the kinds of firearms I want for my setting. Yeah, it's dope. It's really cool. There's so many versions of this, by the way. Like repeating flintlocks or like self-loading flintlocks or shit like that. This one here is basically the same idea where it has a compartment for gunpowder and a compartment for bullets, but instead of being back at the stock, it's here in front next to the barrel, and you turn the entire barrel like a pepper grinder, and it revolves and then makes it so the gunpowder falls in, and then no, what was it? So the bullet goes in, gets pushed forward into the barrel, and then the gunpowder falls back into the barrel behind the bullet or something, and then you turn it back, and then the bullet is in front of the gunpowder, and then that motion also automatically cocks the hammer and fills the fucking flashbang with its own powder from its own reserve. It's wild. These guns are I don't know how the fuck they come up with this shit, but I love it and I want to use it. I do think I want it to like taper down a little. Never mind, that's not tapered at all. Never mind, just fucking straight. There you go. Okay, and it's an octagon, so there are 2 additional lines there. And then there are the lines for the wood that go next to the barrel or under the barrel, which would poke out from either side. And then that would be up to here. That, and then I stop symmetry. This is such an interesting bend in the metal back here. How the fuck am I gonna do that? If I do that, I mean, in the 3D, when I 3D model the thing, by the way. Drawing it, I can draw it, but when I need to model it, it's gonna be tough. Wait, hold on. Oh, I'm stupid. That is... That's this. Yeah, hold on. Whoops. That's this. This is that, where the fucking hammer attaches. So it wouldn't even be that far back. You wouldn't see it. It's like here. And also, I made a mistake. These 2 sides of... Oh. They stick out not further than the gun. And this is actually flush. Oh boy, I messed this up big time. Okay, so this side is flush with the wooden stock. This side is sticking out a little bit. And then on this side we have that handle. which goes like that. Okay, cool. Okay, yes. And then I have the rope here. End of that stump. Come on, draw a straight fucking line. These are the two side panels that got bolted on for the sake of like affixing it to the gun. Fixing the makeshift like stick handle. And another piece at the top. That. And then we have to bend this whole arm outwards to make it clear that the gunsmith is weeping. The gunsmith that originally made this thing is weeping. Hold on, I'm gonna make it like... Nah. I was gonna say I'm gonna make it like bend out like this, but that's gonna be really hard to make stable when I model it. If I print it, that's gonna snap off, so it'd be better to just have it flush against the gun. There you go. It's very blocky. It makes sense that it would be, but... Yeah, I think I can thin this part down a little. Probably just select it. It's so ugly. It'll look better when I model it, all right? Because from the top it looks shit. It'll be fine, hopefully. The peel is from the side, you know. The top doesn't tell the whole story. It's not photogenic from the top. Uh, Hold on, what am I doing? I'm trying to make this smaller so I can actually see. Looks like an anti-tank rifle. It's not that big. It does look very, like, powerful, but it's not. It's quite small. Like, if you see the guy holding it, it's a very thin thing. It's just because there's no reference point that it looks so big. But in truth, like, compared to the Hatchfolk, his hand's gonna be, like, this big. Like, that big. Here you go. So it's like quite a small thing. See? Like that immediately brings it into perspective that that's like not even that substantial. Love the design so far. Yeah, I'm happy with it. It went surprisingly well. I mean, the we basically just copied the gun, just added our own little pieces to it, and I think those made it special. Uh, Bandages and like a rope attached makes it like cobbled together enough, but not just absolute scrap. Okay, well, I think I'm gonna end the stream there. I need a rest. I need some break. I need a rest. I need some break. I'm hungry. I'm gonna go get food and I'm gonna go take a break and then I'll probably like work on this off stream. I'm too tired to talk now. My drugs have worn off. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. That was fun. Mostly just ranting again, as usual. But yeah, take care, guys. See you in the next stream.